a constitutional amendment to get money out of politics.
He
is a cultural pioneer. And I hope that you give him the respect that you give me.
The respect that you give Joe.
Russell Simmons.
Yeah. Mic check. Not block the light, please.
Everybody back.
Mic check. Mic check. So I've been involved in the movement. Since the beginning. I can look out my window.
I can't see. Back up.
And all the beautiful people at Zuccotti Park. And I've been hopeful that your energy and courage would inspire a shift in this country. One that would benefit the 99% in a meaningful way. I have been very inspired as I know that every day there are changes being discussed in this country. In fact, things that they were talking about one day in Congress, they ain't talking about no more. Things that they were talking about that are good are no longer a whisper, but in fact they are now becoming a roar. In other words, we all realize that this country is controlled by big business. It's something that's been overlooked for some time, but it's becoming a realization to the masses. This is because of your courage and your hard work and your inspiration. Your inspiration has promoted a lot of courage, congressmen and senators, although they're a little mousy in a way, they don't come around that much, but they're taking your lead. There are a number of constitutional amendments. They're floating around. But none are really absolute. What I think we want is all the money. From every special interest. And even individuals. Out of Washington. So, So if we push this education process, as we have been, then it'll come to a head. And this dialogue will end up well. Let me tell you why we need this amendment. Because people in the black community are very upset. That so many people are incarcerated. For such long periods of time. Such small non-violent crimes. But it must be the prison industrial complex paying our politicians. And we're upset because jobs are overseas. It must be the loopholes that the politicians are leaving open or promoting on behalf of business. There's a discussion about health care, but the health care companies won't give you health care. And almost everything that you complain about is the result of politicians making decisions on behalf of business instead of the people. Your work is critical. And you are already winning. As you are educating the masses. I have a constitutional amendment. I will pass it around. It's simple soundbite for America. I would like, would you read this?
Of course I will.
I would like for her to read it to you.
Okay. Mic check. Section 1. All elections for President and members of the United States House of Representatives. In the United States Senate. Shall be publicly financed. No political contributions. Shall be permitted. To any federal candidate. From any other source. Including the candidate. No political expenditures. Shall be permitted. In support of any federal candidate. Or in opposition to. Any federal candidate. From any other source. Including the candidate. Nothing in this section. Shall be construed to abridge. The freedom of the press. Section 2. Congress shall, by statute, provide limitations on the amounts and the timing of the expenditures of such public funds, and provide criminal penalties for any violation of this section. Big twiggly fingers on that. Section 3. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. And lastly, Section 4. This article shall be inoperative unless it is ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by conventions in several states as provided by the Constitution. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to close by saying that you are the seeds of a revolution. But just the seeds. Because we have to grow. We are under attack. Around this country. But I think the attacks have only made us multiply. Your inspiration is so special and dear. To all the people who are halfway politically astute and awake. Thank you so much for your efforts.
We're going to be taking some questions now, so for individuals who want to be able to ask, you can step up behind this lady right here. Woo!